record button. I'll forget that too often.
That's right, I don't want to put it yourself.
So does everybody else go ahead and mute themselves? That in your lower left-hand corner, and then we'll get started here. Whoever that is with the dog, mute yourself. Thank you so much. Okay, great. Awesome. Okay, welcome to the Secret to Talks That Sell, how to structure a persuasive talk. And I'm Julia Beecham. I'm happy to be with you today. Thank you for taking the time to be here. You walk up onto stage and all eyes turn to you. The audience goes hush as they await your words. You begin to speak, and every word has weight and meaning. You see in the audience's faces and in their eyes is light. They're lighting up. They love it. They're eating it up. And then after your talk, as you go to the back of the room to connect with people or to sign people up for your offer, there's a line of people craving, clamoring to talk with you and to work with you. Not only have you done a good job, but you've really made a big impact on your audience. Raise your hand if that's what you'd like with your talks every time you speak. Totally. Yeah, and there's going to be some time for questions and connecting later, but I just wanted to say hi first and give you a picture of what the structure that we're going to learn today is makes possible for you. So I have a PowerPoint presentation that I'm going to be bringing up back and forth so that we can follow along together really well. So you'll see me sometimes, and then you'll see the PowerPoint sometimes, and that'll just, we'll see how that goes. So let's start by bringing that up right now. Let's see. This. Okay. Great. I love this little guy. This little dude with the hand, he's selling stuff. He's persuasive. He's got it. And that's what I want for you guys. I mean, we're here to learn about how to structure talks that enroll people, basically. And when I say talks that sell, it's not just selling products or selling your services. It's also selling your ideas, enrolling people in your philosophy or your idea, whatever it is that you're talking about. Whoever just joined, just make sure to mute yourself so that the noise doesn't interfere. Thank you. And what I find is that so often we don't understand the structure of how to create that kind of persuasive talk. So what would be possible for you if you were able to structure a talk that got people to enroll in your ideas and in your offers, in your calls to action? It'd be pretty amazing. It'd make a big difference in the world, I'm sure, because I know that the people that tend to come to my talks and everything are people who have a lot of hearts and really care. So I'm excited to offer you this information. And you know, this information is usually what I share with my clients. And I usually save it for that work. But it's a question I get so often. What should I say? What do I say? How do I organize my thoughts? So I want to just give it to you so that you have it, and then you can really go out and speak more. You know, don't hesitate to speak anymore. So who am I, and why am I here telling you all about this? We're going to start to get into that. So my name is Julia Beecham, and I'm a public speaking coach. I work with conscious entrepreneurs that are building their business through speaking and want to attract more clients from the stage. And life is really great. I mean, I've had the opportunity, as you see in these pictures, to study at the Kotowski Institute. You see that in the upper left in Poland. That's me in the square outside the institute here on the right. The space that we worked in is there on the bottom left, and the forest that we would do a lot of training in is there on the right. So I did my physical theater training in Poland at the Persuasive Institute. I had the pleasure of mute yourself, everybody. Mute yourself. I had the pleasure of being a yoga teacher for 10 years, and I still teach sometimes, but it's not my focus anymore, where I learned so much about teaching and facilitating and being up on stage and just being myself. And I love that work. And I even started to teach voice to yoga teachers. You can see down on the right, that was the beginning of my work with yoga teachers on their voice and on their performance. And then now I've had the, let's see. Oh, there we go. Oh, I went too far. Okay, so now I have had the opportunity to really train around public speaking in particular with Magnetic Speaking, an amazing organization in San Francisco, with Peter Corey. That's a picture of the founder, Peter Corey, there speaking. And with Claim Your Voice with Jonathan Bender. He's an amazing speaking trainer that's been working for over 30 years to develop his system. And so I'm one of his coaches. And then also with Mark and Shannon of Big Impact to help people to learn speak to sell methods as well. So this all comes together for me. And now I have the blessing of speaking a lot about speaking and to have big audiences of people who, like I said, have a lot of heart. And it's such a blast. It's such a privilege to be able to speak. But it really wasn't always this way. And someone's writing me a little note. Let's see. Matt Woodhill, going great. You can mute all. Yeah, it's getting a little loud. I don't know how to mute. Mute all. Got it. Thanks, Matt. Okay, great. Okay, great. So it wasn't always this way in terms of having all these opportunities to speak and all these opportunities to express and get training. I grew up in a house that was great. There was a lot of love in my house, but there wasn't a lot of expression. It was very quiet. It was very sterile. It was contained. By the time I was a teenager, but by the time I was 15 or 16, I just wanted to get out of there. I wanted to get out. I felt caged. I felt so stuck. There was so much emotion and energy inside of me that wanted to get out. I'm an artist. Well, when we come back to my video, you can see I have paintings that I've done in the back on the wall behind me. I'm an artist as well, and at that time, I drew a picture of myself, a self-portrait. It was me sort of looking down towards my belly, kind of an outline of me like a cartoon. And in the center of my belly, I drew a circle. And in that circle, I drew these slash marks inside, as if, all this energy was just contained there. And it really wasn't until I had a life-threatening illness when I was 18 that put me in the ICU for a week that I started to really question and see the bigger picture. And I remember so clearly laying in that ICU bed with IVs everywhere and unable to move and realizing that I couldn't live that way anymore. I couldn't live contained and feeling small and feeling so fearful of really being fully expressed. Thankfully, there was a little seed that had been planted in me a long time, I'm sure, or divine alignment or whatever. I was in theater school at that point. I went to theater school at Emerson College. So it was through theater school and through all the training I did beyond that started to wake up my expression and bring me back to life in a lot of ways. And so now that's what I bring to my clients and to the groups that I work with and to the groups that I speak to. I love to watch these heart-centered people that are so good at what they do, so good at the modalities that they do, come alive as speakers and be able to share their message in a way that really reaches people. Because the world really needs your voice and needs your message. So we're here today to talk about, let me come back to my picture. Stop it. There we go. So we're here today to talk about the structure of talks that sells a persuasive talk structure that you can use right away. And what I'm going to demonstrate this talk structure, I already am demonstrating this talk structure in my talk today. So you can always go back and listen to this recording and study the structure that I'm using. So we're going to go over what I see as the problem that so many conscious entrepreneurs have around figuring out what to say in their talks. So the things that come up around trying to figure out what to say. And then we're going to look at why that's happening. You know, what's really stopping them from figuring this out. And then we're going to talk about that structure that you're here for. We're really going to dive deep into understanding that structure, and so that you have it and can use it over and over again. If you have any questions along the way that come up, just like Matt did and Jill did, you're welcome to write them in the chat box, and I'll definitely look at them and address them if I can as I'm speaking, or make sure to answer them at the end. And we'll have time for questions and answers at the end as well. Okay, so let's dive in and go back to the PowerPoint thing. I have a little, I don't think it's gonna work. Okay. Can you guys see my screen right now? Type into the box. Okay. Okay. So my screen's a little bit frozen, but that's okay. We'll just keep going through. So the first thing that I see is that there's a lot of fear that comes up around figuring out what to say. And I've experienced this myself. I so relate with this. I so relate with this. It's like, well, what if I say the wrong thing? What if I don't do it well enough? What if they think I'm bad at this? So many things come up around what to say. And we, of course, want to get clients. We want to make money, or we want to make a big difference. So we try. we sometimes don't even try because we're so scared. So the fear around that can be paralyzing in one way or another. And the overwhelm that comes with all the thoughts of trying to figure out what to say, it can be really paralyzing as well. For my clients, they often come into sessions with this huge presentation and so many thoughts, and can't even begin to figure out how to get them out in a concise, clear way. You can really reach people. And that will lead to one of two things on stage. Either you'll freeze up on stage. And I have a really great slide for this. I don't know why this isn't working. My computer's sort of frozen. But either you're going to freeze up and blank out on stage. It's like this total frozen, and your thought goes blank, and your mind goes blank, and you can't even find any words at all. That's really common. It's happened to me. Even it's happened to me more than I'd like to say. It's definitely happened to me, not in the last bit of time, because I've found tools to overcome it, but yeah, it's happened to me. Or you're going to go on and on and on rambling about something and not really getting to the point. And that can be just as detrimental as blanking out. And both of these things lead to your audience really zoning out. They tune out, they go on their phone, or they start thinking about what they're going to eat later. They disconnect, which is the opposite of what we really want as speakers. We want to be able to deeply connect with our audience, engage them, captivate them with our presence, and really magnetize them to us with our speeches, with our talks. So you would get responses from this kind of talk that are like, you did great. Oh, there we go. Okay, let me see if I can share my screen with you. Okay, great. There we go. Now we're getting back into swing of things. So from this kind of talk, you would get responses like, well, that was a great talk, good job. Almost like they're saying good job to you to be nice to you. As opposed to the kind of response that's like, wow, I need to talk to you. Yeah, you changed my life. Or I really want to work with you. That kind of response, which is, I would say, something more in line with what we really want when we speak. So this overwhelm, and that's what this picture really represented to me, the overwhelm that can happen when there's so many thoughts that go through our heads, so many ideas. And I think that this kind of thing, like you see in the picture, really happens, and there's the freeze response. It's really happening because we don't have a structure around our ideas. So we have so many ideas, and there's not a map or clear understanding of direction of where they're going. There's a lack of a progressive map or progressive journey that we're taking people on. It's just a dumping of information. And again, this leads to the audience really zoning out and not fully receiving your message the way that you want them to. I also find that a lot of times conscious entrepreneurs are so well trained that they get lost in the nitty-gritty of speaking. That, I think the next slide is about that. Yeah. So there's so many details. Even if they have a structure of some kind that makes sense to them, they're so lost in the nitty-gritty details of how they work on this every single day. Boris, I think you understand what I mean. that nobody else can really understand it, or the audience zones out because it's too much information. And this little card down the bottom is that you're basically too smart for your own good. Most of us are. Most of the people that I work with are smarty pants. They're too smart for their own good. And nobody else can really access the information and the genius that they have. So all these details basically lead to overwhelm of your audience, and that's why they're zoning out. So how do we solve this problem? We've talked about you're overwhelmed. There's so many thoughts. There's the fear of what to say and the fear of really wanting to get clients, but not knowing how to do that. And then that's because there's so much information that you have, and you don't have a structure to put it in because you're too smart for your own good. So what I find that conscious entrepreneurs really need is a structure, but not just any structure. It's a structure that can also be flexible, like this model or box or whatever it is. It can move. It can be flexible to changing circumstances, to whatever happens in the moment, and to however you feel or however you've changed, so that you can really be authentic in the moment, but you can also stay on point and have a sense of direction with your talks. So let's get into that right away. So this is your progressive talk structure. It gives you a map for your thoughts. It allows you to stay on point while still sounding like yourself. And it may sound really simplistic when I go into it because you've heard it all over the place. Everybody uses this structure. It's really simple and maybe even obvious. But when you get it ingrained in you, it will change everything about how your talks are received. So really take this as seriously as you can. Like, how can my thoughts fit into this? Okay. So the first thing, the progressive talk structure, is the problem. That's the first section of any good talk. What is the problem, or what is the pain? And this really sets up the enrollment. There's the beginning of understanding what's the struggle. And of course, this is always about your audience, thinking about who am I talking to? And you're also thinking about what is it that I am offering them, or what is it that I want them to get out of this? And you're focusing on the problem that would make sense to them in that context. What is the problem? What is the pain? What is the challenge? You can see the pictures are sort of examples of that depending on what you do. Maybe it's like joint pain, like this guy on the left, or it's overwhelm at work, or it's this little girl being sad, depression and anxiety issues. What is the pain that your people have? And for anybody that's here that's in the Big Impact University program, this whole system that we're going to learn today, the 3 steps, can fit into the Mark and Shannon signature talk thing. You can sort of just overlay this into their system. So what is the pain, or what is the problem that your people have? And as we move into this, it's important to notice that I'm asking questions. I'm asking questions because literally all you have to do when you give a talk is answer the question. What is the problem? Well, the problem is that most conscious entrepreneurs are overwhelmed and fearful about figuring out what to say. Sound familiar? So you just answer the question as succinctly, as bottom line as possible. What is the problem? What is the pain? And and just sum it up in like a nice little sound bite. And then the second part is cause. This is making sense, right? It's like really simple and obvious, but it's important to think through. So why do you, as the expert, because you are the expert in the topic you're speaking on, why do you think, or why do you believe this is happening? As you can see with the dominoes, it's like a cause and effect kind of thing. There's a reason why this is happening. And what's interesting about a lot of talks is that's the cause is actually why people come to hear your talks. They're aware of the pain. They might even be aware of the solution, which is the next section, but they're often not aware of why it's happening. And that's why they need you, because you're the expert. You've seen why it happens. You've experienced it over and over again with your client or with yourself or seeing things out in the world. So you understand the problem on a much deeper level than other people do. So you being the cause makes you an expert, really highlights you as an expert. So what do you believe is happening? Let me see if there's a question mark. David, there will be a downloadable replay, yes. And the screen share stopped. Okay, well, let me see. Stop that, and I'll restart it. Screen share. Okay, great. So the cause, why do you think that's happening? And just answer the question really simple. You know, it's happening because you're all too smart for your own good, which was my cause. And that's what I see over and over again. Now, I don't know if you've thought of that before. Maybe you hadn't heard about that cause before. Maybe you hadn't seen yourself that way before. And now the problem has been illuminated in a new way. So the last section of progressive talk structure is the solution. How can this problem that you presented be solved? And the trick here is that you want your whole talk, the problem that you choose, the cause that you choose, to lead towards the solution that you provide. If you're a coach, it leads to your coaching. If you're an inspirational, motivational speaker, it leads to the tips and secrets that you want to share. So how can this problem be solved? And then you simply state how it could be solved. Often this is the section where you do these are the 3 steps to being a more confident speaker. Or for me, it's the 3 steps to a progressive talk structure. You can do your simple steps here. And again, answer the question really simply. It's not taking a long time to explain the solution. It's a simple bottom line solution. You can imagine you're talking to a 5-year-old. You know, how would a 5-year-old understand what is the problem? Really, what is the bottom line problem? It's not every detail that you've experienced in your research or every detail you've experienced with a client. It's the bottom line problem, as simple as you can make it. And again, with the cause, bottom line cause and bottom line solution. What's the next thing? Yeah, so I'm going to come back to my video now. Okay, great. So once we have this structure, then we have to fit our ideas into them. And that can be really the challenging part, because there's so much that's individual to you that you have all these thoughts, like I was saying, you have to fit in here. So that bottom lining technique is really important. But then you can also start to fill in the problem section, the cause section, and solution section with support and evidence. It's like quotes that would support your idea, or statistics, or little stories and testimonials. These kind of things start to spice up and create depth in each of the sections. And it also builds you as an expert, as a credible source, because you have these other credible people to back you up. If you have a 10-minute presentation, problem, cause, solution can happen in a minute each. It can happen very quickly. Again, really bottom line. If you have 90 minutes, then that's when you really add in the evidence. You add in the stories, even maybe add in partner shares and question and answer times. And if you have 3-day workshop, well, then you give them a lot to understand deeply what is the problem, experience it deeply. They experience the cause, they really talk it through and understand why this is happening to them. And they understand your solution on a much, much deeper level. So I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint now to start to wrap up my presentation, because what I find is that we learned today about overwhelm, about why it's happening, and a progressive talk structure to organize your thoughts, but the challenge is that speaking isn't only what you say. It's actually even more about how you say what you say. So as you can see here, I found these 2 different graphs about nonverbal communication. One says that verbal communication is 35% and nonverbal is 65%. The other says that nonverbal communication is all the way up to 93%, both that physical nonverbal and the tone of your voice quality. And then the words are just that 7%. So what does this mean for speakers? I think one thing that it really means for speakers is to not get too stressed out about what you say, about the content. What if it mattered more that you showed up, gave it your all, and that you were connected to your audience? What if that was the #1 important thing in your mind when you do a talk, and when you prepare for a talk, or when you take a speaking in the first place, that you're not thinking about what am I going to say? That that's not the first question. It's more trusting yourself that you will figure it out, and that you'll connect with people in a way that matters and is good enough. So I think the nonverbal communication I've found over time is really the most important part of speaking, and where most speakers need the most support and most training. And the truth is that many of you are going to need ongoing support around developing nonverbal communication, your delivery skills, as well as developing your talks, crafting your talks in this structure. So for those of you, this is more about nonverbal communication. For those of you that are speaking a lot, you are the instrument of your message, like this woman with a cello on her back. You are the instrument of your message. Your body, your voice, those nonverbal communication cues are the instrument of your message, and your message is, of course, that talk structure that we just developed. So for those of you that are hungry for support around your speaking, and you're speaking already, and for those of you that feel like you're playing small, sort of like I was when I was younger, perhaps it's hard for you to project and you have a fear of the judgment of the audience. And you really want to be that captivating, magnetizing speaker and make a big difference in the world. And of course, more money and more clients along the way is all good too. I want to do something special for you. And here's the deal. Let me come back to you. I don't do this all the time, but I wanted to do it for the meetup group. For those of you that fit all those things that I said, I want to offer you a one-on-one time with me to really explore where you are with your speaking. It could be around your talks, where you are with your talks, where you are with your delivery skills, and where you want to go. Like, what is that big vision of where you want to go? What's holding you back from getting there? That's what we see when we have this time to talk and connect. We see the gap in between, and that's the clarity that I find speakers really need. They need to understand, they get feedback on the ways that they're not progressing and not reaching their audience. Because we don't often as speakers get feedback. We're told we get that was so good kind of feedback, but we don't get like feedback. So for those of you that are hungry for support, like I was saying earlier, I want to offer you a Speak to Inspire breakthrough session. And it's definitely an opportunity to break through to that clarity. I charge $200 for my hourly time, but for today, I want to offer this totally complimentary to this group. So if you know that's for you, you'll just go to my website now, juliabeecham.com. That's JuliaBeauchamp, and I'll put that up on the screen in a moment, .com. And on the homepage at the bottom, there's a link to sign up for that session. Again, it's an hour-long phone call with me, one-on-one, so that we can explore where you want to go with your speaking, what's holding you back, and what's that gap that needs to be filled. And now it's time to explore what questions came up for you around this. There's something that came in. So let's see. Given nonverbal is so key, how do we prepare nonverbal messages to align with answering each of these two questions? Problem, cause, solution. Great question. Okay, so the nonverbal communication is a deep topic. It's how we've performed ourselves our whole life. We have to think about, we're speakers all the time. You're speakers when you talk to your lover. You're speakers when you go to the grocery store and check out at the grocery store. You're a speaker all the time. So there's a way that you've been performing yourself, performing your nonverbal communication forever. So that has to start to unravel. And there has to be a lot more awareness brought to the nonverbal communication that you're using. When we get on stage, there's a whole heightened thing that happens where everyone's looking at our every move. Every movement of your hands, every movement of your face, every movement of your body, your eyes, etc. There's a heightened quality. So it's really important to bring awareness to all that. And specifically in terms of problem, cause, solution, the problem is the heavy stuff. And you want to be able to drop into that. Drop into the feeling of that and the pain of that. Let your voice express that, your body express that. And then as you move through, the solution starts to be the upward movement, so that there's a progression through the journey that you're taking people through. The solution is the exciting part. I hope that helps. What other questions are there? And I'm just going to unmute everybody so that you can speak and tell your questions. Raise your hand if you'd like to ask a question. Hi, Liv. If you're on the phone, just yeah, hi, Meryl. Somebody's typing. Julia, how was this for you? I know that you and I have talked about talk structure. How was this for you, Julia? Can you hear me?
Hear you over the typing.
I'm going to unmute everyone again and then bring Julia on. Julia, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hi there, my dear. How is it for you?
What is this?
How is this this for you, this structure?
Super helpful.
Great, because I know you and I were talking about this kind of thing. So what was your biggest aha or takeaway from this?
How straightforward the format was of problem, reason, solution. That was something that I've known, like you said, but again, hearing that again, sort of, wow, it's almost like I was hearing it for the first time.
Yeah, cool, great, thank you. Okay, so
yeah, thank you.
And Meryl says, can you give us some guidelines for how the structure would work in a 30-minute talk, which I think we get a lot of opportunities to do. But yeah, I feel like 10 to 30 minutes is pretty usual. So for 30 minutes, it depends how much workshop you want to do. I would say there's a personal story at the beginning, so make sure to leave time for a personal story. And then the problem, cause, solution, maybe 5 to 7 minutes each. You could have an exercise for each, a short little partner exercise, or you could put in those pieces of evidence like success stories or statistics or that kind of thing to fill the time, but still focusing on bottom line, what is the problem, You don't need to talk about what the problem is for 5 minutes or 7 minutes. Just what is the problem, and then illuminate that through evidence or partner shares or feedback from the audience, more so than saying what the problem is in more detail or anything like that. Great. Let's see, who else is here? Siri. Great, I'd love to hear from you, Siri. I know we connected yesterday. How is this for you? You're unmuted, Siri.
Oh, thanks. Hi. Yeah, this was really helpful. Just that really
Great.
basic structure. It takes some of the, anxiety around like, well, how to take all those different pieces and put them together in one.
Yeah.
And just, giving that structure. I'm totally unfamiliar with any kind of background on giving talks, so this was definitely helpful. I think for me, the part that I'm still, feel like I could use personal work around is just my own voice. And I know that my breath tends to get a little bit tightened, and that it's like I can feel flushed and all of these things that, because we operate in such a nonverbal way, that I'm afraid that I'm communicating, nervousness rather than total relaxation in talking, which I know is not as effective. So, I don't know if now is the time, but just any tools around sort of how to drop into, sort of full breathing and just be okay with there being moments of silence or, whatever that is.
Yeah, and this is the primary work that I do. So it's a great topic. My genius zone is really around the delivery and the nonverbal side of it, the vocal side of speaking, and that's such a big part of what's communicated. So the content work naturally leads into the work on delivery. This is a great question. And I would say basic foundation of delivery work is overcoming those nerves and fears that come up and finding that deep relaxation and trusting yourself. And then you can start to play more. Then it can be more expressive and dynamic and have all kinds of different levels. But we have to overcome that first level first. So in terms of breathing, I think as deep as I'll go right now is that you need to keep breathing. What would it be like if you could breathe throughout your whole talk and always have enough breath? So let's just leave it at that taking the time to breathe and taking a breath that feels good to you is so important. And there's a lot of tools around making that happen. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Siri. And question just came in. I think that's muted. Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm far away in Germany. Oh, this is from Boris. Needs to leave. Oh, it was a great and helpful presentation. Thank you, Boris. Okay, thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question.
Who's that?
Rachel.
Rachel, go ahead.
So at the beginning, you started with a imagine this type of thing. Was that supposed to be like a teaser of like, if you follow my solution? What was that, and how that? What's the thought behind it, and how might we relate it to the other points of the structure? Because it felt like its own thing.
Yeah, great observation. So the image that I created for you all at the beginning was really an image of the solution. If everything were to go perfectly, this is what it would look like for you. Mm-hmm. And that technique is called a first mental image, which is a technique that I learned from Mark and Shannon of Big Impact. So I teach more about that in my program, in my Speak to Inspire program. It can be something that you really need to work on to develop what is your first mental image, and there's some things to look at around what makes it work and what doesn't. I mean, ultimately you want it to be a you statement. You are peeling a banana. You are walking on the beach holding hands with your man. You are standing at the edge of the cliff with your arms outstretched. Whatever it is, it's an image that you're placing the audience in by using that word you. I chose to make an image of the solution. You could just as easily do an image of the problem or the cause if you'd like as well. Does that help, Rachel?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering is if you could do it with each piece. It's not necessarily you took us to what you were trying to get us to go towards, and it doesn't have to be used that way. It can
Yeah,
be,
there's so many possibilities with the beginning of the clock. That's one option. Yeah. Great. Thank you, Rachel.
it's all new to me, so I was like, I liked that. I want to know more about it.
Cool. I'm glad you liked it. All right, I'll take one more question. Isabel, I hadn't seen you there before. Did you just arrive? Isabel? Okay, maybe she's muted. Rachel. Gabby. David, I don't know if you and I have connected at all. I'd love to hear from you. How was this for you? Let's see if we can mute. Oops. There we go. Hi, David. You must be muted on your end. I can't hear you. Whoop. Okay, I can't hear you, David. Okay, so we'll come back to you, David. Hey, Matt Woodhill, I'd love to hear from you. How was this for you?
How about now? Can you hear me now?
Oh, there's David. Okay, great.
Okay, I have to change my sound source to the right one.
Okay, I thought something. Hey there, how was
Hi,
this?
Julia. Yeah, I'm enjoying this. My workshop career is really expanding this year, and it's been on my attention to take in more information and take in ideas and thoughts and training and to create more structure. I'm really good creating connection and being in front of people. I think that's my strength. But organizing my material and delivering it in a way that really works for people sequentially, that's where I need work. And I need some work with style also. I think I get excited. I deliver too much, sometimes too quick and too randomly.
Great, I totally understand. That's what I hear so much from people.
Yeah.
It's the excitement about what they're talking about. The passion is so there, and the
Right.
knowledge and expertise, that smarty pants thing is so there.
I don't know anybody like that.
I know. Yeah, but how to boil it down to just really understand what they need to understand. Because you've lived this, but they don't, they're just getting started.
Right. Well, maybe not, but in any case, to pace it for the whole room and to have a flow is really valuable.
Yeah, great. Let me know how that goes for you for your workshops. I'd love to
Thank
hear
you.
it. Okay, great. All right, well, it's time to wrap up. I'm going to put up in a moment a slide about the Speak to Inspire Breakthrough session that has that link where you can sign up. It'd be my pleasure to connect with you. I only have 3 slots available for those from this call in the next week or 2, I think it is. So make sure to go there and claim that spot as soon as you can. It'd be great to connect with you. The world really does need your voice and needs your message. Use this structure to get it out there more effectively, and let me know how it goes. Send me an email, send me a Facebook message. I'd love to hear from you. Take care. Bye.